Hi, welcome to my shop. My name is Johan. In today's video, I am going to try and build from scratch a hand-operated metal device that can turn a can like this into a can like this. But here's the thing. There's three aspects of this build which I have not figured out completely yet. I have not found a solution. So I went online, I watched a lot of YouTube videos on various can crushers. None of them are exactly what matches the picture that I have in my mind. So I could not get the answers to the problems I don't know how to do yet. I decided then to do the only thing I can do. I'm going to start building it, figure it out as I go along. In other words, build one section, test it, add onto it the whole time until I get it. The only thing I do know right now is that I can do this. I bought these two pieces, which is pretty important pieces for my design, from a local scrapyard. This one is actually quite thick. That's about a 3mm thickness. So this is a really nice, thick, strong one. And this one is going to be the one that goes on the inside, and it's going to make the piston part that will do the crushing. A can fits nicely in here. So that part's sorted. So first up, I have to cut a piece to put in the bottom there. Look at that. That's perfect. So that will give a good, strong, that's 10mm thick steel that's in there. So that will give quite an area to do the crushing. Okay, so I have to find the halfway spot here because I want to cut out half of this so that when the can is crushed, it can drop out the bottom. Well, it pains me to admit this, but I think my design is flawed. It's apparent I'm only a maker and not an engineer. So the problem comes with this maneuvering part that I have to figure out. As this piston part retracts, this needs to get longer. I now worked it out that I need about this much play. I knew this was going to happen. I knew that you can't have something fixed because it just won't work. You need to have some movement on it. So my plan was to cut a groove out here and then put a nut on the inside that can slide with a bolt through it that can slide up in front. The problem I'm having right now is when I did my research, I found can crushers that you can buy off the shelf. Not unfortunately in South Africa, but in America you can buy them on Amazon. And they are little things made of wood or plastic, about this big, that you can just fit against your wall and it works. So already my design is turning out to be way over-engineered, way too big. Big metal, heavy metal and everything. And I also wanted to mount this on the wall. So as you can see now, I'm already at the point where even if I cut this, if I mount this on the wall, I will have something that sticks out of the wall a meter. It's the perfect thing for me to walk in, bump my head or whatever. I have no doubt that if I continue on this path, I will get something that works and can crush a can. But how big and how heavy is it going to be by the time I'm done? This is the part that I'm struggling with now. I'm now have a question of should I carry on with this? What happens if this slide mechanism here isn't smooth and then as I'm trying to press down, it catches and I can't get it smooth, and I honestly don't know what I should do now. All right, I've decided I'm going to continue on this path and see where it takes me. You only live once. Think of all the knowledge I can gain from trying to figure this out. I have to do some welding quickly, and then we can take it from there. Welding and cutting and drilling. I'm curious to see where this will end up, so let's... Mounting this onto a wall might be a little bit of a problem. This is definitely how you over-design something. Definitely. Let me quickly cut off this ugly edge before I cut myself on it. All right, so I have to now cut this part out so that this nut can sit on the inside and slide up and down here. That's going to be interesting. All right, it's not often that I fail as epically as this, but it happens. Let me show you what's the problem. When I pull it out, this part catches here, then wedges the piston inside there. So then you can wiggle it, but it's a bit of a pain. Then if I start at the maximum position, okay, so now it wants to fall back like that, but it's because I can't actually mount this against the wall to test it, and it needs to be horizontal. When I now press it, look what happens. It wedges the piston out this hole that I made to feed the cans in. What the problem is that this part of the metal is much thinner than the actual size of this piston head, and there's too much movement on it back and forth. You can see here, it's too much movement. What I'm actually thinking I should do is tack some guides across this edge here so that this part cannot move up and down. So limit the movement of this part up and down. And I'm hoping that would solve this problem. Wow! I cannot believe this. This is turning out to be a video where all you see is my troubleshooting process. But this is the nice thing about failure, is it's only a teacher. It's teaching us. So every time I get it a little bit closer. I did a really good job at putting this part at a position so that this one is right in the center of the tube. This one is now not. And the fact that I couldn't make that weld at the bottom there perfectly 90 degrees is now kind of biting me in the behind. I welded these guides on. Now, if I use my hand and I pull this back and forth, then you can see it works quite nice. If I keep my hand here, okay, the minute I try to use this, which is the lever, you see it won't work, it won't go forward. If I wiggle it, and then if I get here, and then it pushes this thing part out again, which is not supposed to be. And then only here, if I put a can in and I maneuver this with both hands to the can, and I then take this at this last part, then it works. But the idea is to build on top of this to build some kind of thing that just comes past here, like a feeding tube, so I can put like 10 cans in there. And I don't know how exactly that's going to work here when the cans drop in, so that only one at a time drops in. But the idea is that you can load this with 10 cans and then go twam, 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 and they drop out the bottom the whole time. But it's not working. So here's my thinking. This angle is too sharp. That's what I'm thinking, number one. This angle is way too sharp. The only thing I can do is, this is what I left these steel, the length they did, so that if I had to do modifications, I had some extra steel. So my thinking is that this hole should come forward. That's the first thing that needs to happen. The second thing I think that's a problem, this piston part is too short. There's not enough of a guide to breach this gap over here. Once you get into this gap, then this happens. What should actually happen is that there's a piece of this steel still in here, in the tube, to keep the guide to be in a straight angle. So yes, failure is just a teacher. It teaches you things that you didn't even think of. I'm really sorry if you were disappointed, if you were hoping to see a completed can crusher at the end of this video. Things don't always go the way you want it to go. That's part of making something from scratch and figuring things out and all of that. And I would be kind of a hypocrite if I don't show that as well. How it looks now is what I saw in my mind. So that's not a complete failure. I managed to get to something that resembles the picture I had in my mind. I did not anticipate the complications along the way. So there's still a lot to do here. So I'll make a second video where I attempt to complete this. But no, I should say with confidence, where I'm going to complete this and it's going to work. But I first have to go and scavenge some parts. If you have some ideas or any ideas or a tip or something, please, in the comments below, let me know what you think, where I'm going wrong. Please feel free to share this video, share it with somebody that might know how to fix this, please. I'll really appreciate that. Thank you for your time. This is not the end. It's only a bump in the road. So we will complete this. Until the next video, make your best life. It's getting there. It's not round, but man, I wish I had a handheld plasma cutter. Wow. I don't think this water is going to be enough. No, I'm going to need a bit more water.